Kitty Kitty! The latest irresistibly cute, cozy cat game is releasing on May 9th, and a little birdie told me you were on the prowl for a review. Fortunately, you've come to the right place. Before we get into the thick of it, a quick shout out to the community over at patreon.com/idreamofindiegames. Follow along for free to show the channel some love, or support us at any of the available tiers to net yourself some awesome perks like Discord access, early and ad-free content, an exclusive podcast, and even free games at some tiers. Your community is waiting for you. As a general rule, I try to go into every game I play with as little expectations as humanly possible. Basically, I don't like to get my hopes up or take on any games I'm reviewing with a strong bias, positive or negative. All that being said, I am only human, and I'd be lying to you if I said I wasn't incredibly excited to play Little Kitty Big City from the moment I caught my first glimpse of the trailer. Untitled the Goose Game, but make it cat themed? Absolutely, I'm in. As a certifiable cat lady since birth, I simply could not resist the lure of this game. I guess you could say I was attracted to it like your cat to the sound of a can opener. But was there a can of tuna at the source of that audio cue? Or was there nothing but disappointment and green beans following that familiar mechanical song? Well, first, let me set the scene with the incredibly simple premise. The game begins with the titular Little Kitty slumbering in his sunny, big city apartment window when one poorly executed stretch turns into a spectacular tumble into the city streets. Now it's your job as the player to guide this little kitty back home, just with a few distractions and quests along the way, as you might expect. Little Kitty Big City puts a huge emphasis on exploration, so the first thing you'll notice once you're on all four paws is that you can jump on most platforms, balance across most ledges, and knock down almost any stationary objects within your reach. Basically, wreak adorable havoc everywhere. The environment feels very interactive, positively inviting you to explore and test the limits of what this little kitty can do. While ironically the city does not ultimately feel all that big once you get a handle on it, it is just big enough to capture your curiosity and imagination. So, open world, aimless exploration is fun and all, but what exactly are you supposed to do? As you interact with your environment and the many animal denizens of this city, you'll add tasks to your ever-growing to-do list. These tasks will include engaging with the distracted humans that walk around with their attention firmly glued to their pocket rectangles, rescuing lost ducklings from various precarious perches, and finding a dog's lost balls. They were very precious to him. They're silly and simple tasks, nothing that is going to tax your brain in any capacity, but they'll provide at least a few hours of entertainment when the game is working, that is. We'll get into that a little bit later. Apart from the side quests and your ultimate goal of returning home, the rest of your time will be spent collecting. You'll need shinies to appease the crow, which he is definitely collecting to dispose of them due to their dangerous nature and not because they hold any value to him whatsoever. These shinies can be used to purchase hats. The hats don't really serve any purpose other than being absolutely adorable, and they can also be found out in the wild with a sharp eye. If you catch a bird, and let them go of course, we're not monsters here, you can collect feathers which are used to fund the mad scientist of a tanuki in his peculiar fast travel endeavors. Lastly, there are tasty fish to gather which will allow you to climb to new heights. Nothing groundbreaking here in regards to story or gameplay, but it's all done with an adorable charm and style that is sure to bring a smile to any cat lover's face. There is a built-in camera for adorable screenshots, and you can emote in some undeniably feline ways like making biscuits, giving yourself a bath, and more. Unfortunately, my time with Little Kitty Big City was not perfect when the flaws came out. First and foremost, the bugs. One such bug prevented me from completing a mission that halted my progress on the task entirely. A father duck implores you to find and retrieve 4 ducklings that are scattered around the city. No problem, I thought. There's a decent enough in-game map, a fast travel system, and exploration is a gosh darn delight. Piece of cake. Well, I found and retrieved the first duck, and then the second without any issue. After finding the first 2 babies and feeling pretty tired, I saved my game for the night, ready to resume my missions again the following day. When I booted the game back up, my save appeared intact. All of the hats, feathers, and shinies I collected were still there, but the 2 ducks were no longer following me. In fact, they had not returned to their parent either. Instead, they were right back where I rescued them from in the first place. Sadly, one of these ducks would never follow me again. He was absolutely, completely, totally, wholeheartedly stuck in the washing machine, and there was nothing I could do to free him from his soapy, spinning prison. He would acknowledge my presence and say he was ready to return home, but the machine could no longer be opened. There was something so deeply unsatisfying about this that it made it difficult to return to doing anything else. The other 3 ducklings would not return to their parent without their last sibling, so they just followed me around aimlessly in a silent plea to return to a home I could never provide for them. In all seriousness, I am confident this is something that can be patched, but not before my time with little kitty was up. As somewhat of a completionist, I like to be able to see every task through, especially in a game that only takes 2 to 5 hours, so this was a major bummer. Apart from this major issue I ran into, there were other minor issues and graphical glitches, like the mysterious levitating kitty and jumps that would unpredictably fling me to the complete opposite direction. It's not the smoothest game in terms of platforming and definitely requires some getting used to. Jumps can be aimed using a visible trajectory indicator, but often ended up in my movements feeling a little bit more clunky than I would expect of a cat game. If you've been watching my gameplay thus far, you can clearly see there is still a really appealing charm to the overall look of the game and its environments. The city itself is fairly nondescript and the humans don't have a lot of discernible facial features, but that's honestly what I would expect a cat to perceive anyway. What is distinct are the many animals you'll encounter throughout your exploration and the uncanny catness of our protagonist. The way he stretches, yawns, bats at toys, and climbs under fences is so similar to my own feline friends that I couldn't help but love him. Clearly, these developers are cat lovers, and that love genuinely shines through in the way they brought this little kitty to life. The music and overall sound design are also spot on for a cozy adventure game. The soundtrack has a smooth jazziness to it, with meandering bass lines and warm, inviting piano. The animal sounds were realistic enough to trick my own pets and fellow humans alike. It's the exact look and feel I was hoping for, so I was certainly not disappointed in this regard. All in all, I'm feline some mixed emotions about the current state of Little Kitty Big City. I genuinely wanted to love this game. I needed it to be an escape from the stress and frustration of the real world right now, and to a certain extent it does this. The hat collecting is a fun pastime. The adorable visuals and warmly welcoming sound design are essential in achieving the overall vibe this development team is trying to achieve. Unfortunately, the bugs squashed some of the momentum created by the finer points of Little Kitty Big City. Platforming quirks, uncompletable tasks, and a short runtime have me cautious to recommend this title to everyone just yet. There is a whole lot of potential here, and it's not a total catastrophe, but there is some work that needs to be done before it can live up to its predecessors like Untitled Goose Game. I would just keep an eye out on patch updates so you don't end up a sourpuss.
Oh no!